in your opinion, what is the best way to make the most out of Ramadan?
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. So happy to be here. I think most of the things that I have with me and I've reflected on it, they apply to Ramadan, but they also apply to life in general. So they're applicable both to Ramadan as well as outside Ramadan. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, at least in my experience, that I've always made is that I've thought that Ramadan comes with its own set of principles that are not applicable outside Ramadan. And the first one would be preparation. And the analogy I like you to think about is if you're preparing for a marathon, you will not do it on the day of marathon. You will start doing it well ahead of time, right?
Yeah, mashallah.
And it won't be limited only to your gear, or it won't only be limited to what I'm going to eat, but it will be a very comprehensive plan where you'll work on your mindset, and if you talk in context of Ramadan, then you'll work on your mindset, you'll work on what kind of food serves me best. Okay, and I used to struggle a lot with Ramadan, especially in terms of food. And then I realized that if I start cutting out processed food, if I start cutting out coffee and start making healthy choices, which I anyways should be making day to day, right? But if I'm not making them, and if I start making them perhaps a month ahead of time, your body needs at least that much, if not more, to get rid of toxins. We struggle not because we are weak, we struggle because the body goes into detox. We're fasting and it goes into detox. So just start making those choices a bit earlier. And then Ramadan has a very strong spiritual component to it. And preparation doesn't need to be heavy. So for instance, if we increase the amount of istighfar or the route that we say on day of Salah, on Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that we send on day-to-day basis, then you're adding on that spiritual strength to your things. And I was listening to last bit of what Farida was saying. It's very important to know what to cut out. And that applies both to Ramadan as well as outside Ramadan. People who achieve big things, they don't spread themselves thin. They don't focus on 25 things. They focus on one thing. They have one focus, one purpose. They do it well. And in many ways, Ramadan is a practice run for how we should run rest of our life. It's not other way around. So I think that was first thing. And the other thing is be kind to yourself. It's not a comparison. All of us have a different set of priorities. We have different life situations. And the example I will give, and I think those of us who have worked in medical field, they will certainly understand this. So if you're doing a run of nights, or if you're doing long days, it's not the same as, a weekend or a day off. And if you have the same expectation from your, long shifts, then you're just not being kind to yourself. And my invitation to you will be to reflect on in what else of life are you being a perfectionist? Where else are you being unkind to yourself? Because this surely can't be limited only to Ramadan. It has to be a pattern. And that's where working on yourself, like, whatever you do during 11 months, that will show up during Ramadan. It will probably amplify during Ramadan because we are going to increase our expectations from ourselves in that 1 month. So every habit of thought, every habit of emotion, every eating habit, anything that was slightly problematic, likelihood is that will amplify. And then that again comes to the spiritual goals as well. Sometimes we go ahead and we set unrealistic goals and we project a perfectionism onto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We tell ourselves that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. But the truth is that that's a trauma, that is a perfectionism, that is a fear of failure. And I think that's a very important distinction to make, because Islam is not necessarily about quantity. And I'm not saying that quantity is not important, but quality always trumps quantity. So saying astaghfar during the day, even you're doing your household chores or whatever you're doing, it seems like a very small thing, but it's a small, consistent deed. That is far superior to feeling guilty, pushing yourselves, being unwell, and then having to miss few fasts.